Okay, I'm having a lot of problems here, and I'm going to just blame YouTube for all of them. I'm doing the exact same thing that I've always done. I'm not sure what the problem is. If somebody can leave a comment to let me know that they can hear or see me. Ah, I think it's working. Okay, anyway, I'm very sorry about the delays and about the problems. Let me get this up here a little bit. There we go. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the People's Choice Top 100.
I'm having a lot of problems here.
Yes, no one cares.
Blame.
There we go. Okay. People's Choice Top 100 of all time. This is the last 50. Now, here's what I think happened last time. What I think happened was I tried to change the settings so that it would stream faster and so that it wouldn't, time delay wouldn't be so long. And I think in doing that, somehow YouTube didn't like that and what have you. So this time, not only am I fixed my settings, but I've also set it up so that I'm recording it onto my computer, so hopefully that if anything goes wrong, I can fix it. And if this breaks, it will never happen again, because I'm already sitting there thinking, I have to talk about all this stuff again, and I'm not sure how easy that will be to do. So bear with me. It should be interesting, and probably half of you were here the first time, so I'm not really sure what a big surprise this is. Now, I'm not going to pull all these games off my shelves. As you can see, I'm in the middle of a very busy time right now. There's a lot. These are some games that you'll see being reviewed next week. Kaboom! That's a pretty fun, lightweight dexterity game. Los Incognitos. That's a reprint, actually, of Zoo Safari Dice type game. Pretty fun. Tashkalar from Vlada Shvato. Quick review of that one. Terrible. Jungle Ascent, family game. Hegemonic. Certainly not what you're going to expect. I think some people are going to really like this game, and other people are going to hate it. If you're looking for a 4X exploration game, no. And then Ogre is, I'm not reviewing it. Sorry, not yet. I just got it in the mail today. All my kids were wowed that there is a game this big. I am wowed that there is a game this big. And yes, I am going to component drop this thing. I will probably regret that. All right. So, sorry about my scruffy hair. I really do need to get a haircut. Board Game Geek Con is very soon, so I hope to see some of you there. So come up and say hi to us, and we'll be doing a show from there. Also, tomorrow at noon. Tomorrow at noon, I'll be streaming live again, hopefully, this time with Melody, and we're going to do her entire top 100 in one shot. Because she's in basketball, so it's not so easy to get her sitting down and doing all this. Besides, we need to get these top 100s done, so that way I can post this, and you guys can see the final lists. So, yes, I know I need a haircut. Thank you. But anyhow. All right, so let's get started. I will talk about these games. If you don't know what they are, we fortunately have something called Board Game Geek where you can look them up, and I might pull a couple off my shelf. And I'll probably say different things than I said last time because I do a lot of my talking on the spur of the moment. I've never been a big fan of scripts, so my apologies for that. So, here we go. If you remember, we left off last time with number 51, which was Resistance, Avalon. Now we're going to go to number 50, which is Memoir 44. Now, Memoir 44, see, I'm going to kind of spoil my own top 100 list now that I've done that one. Memoir 44 has been on my top 100 list for a long time. And I'm glad to see that it's still here. I think 2013 is the first year since Memoir has come out that there has been no new expansion for it, no new factions. They're kind of running out of, you can't make up factions for a war. So unless they come out with a box of the Polish army or, things like that, they're running out of factions to add. So I don't know, but the game I think is strong enough that I think in 20 years, people are still they're gonna be saying to their kids, oh yeah, I remember Memoir 44. I played that when I was a kid. And I think Memoir 44 will be the Axis and Allies for our next generation. I'm not sure it will ever replace Risk. So that's number 50, Memoir 44. Number 49 is Pathfinder Adventure Card Game. Now, this was a brand new one to the list. Not surprised to see that it's there because people really do like Pathfinder that much. Some people ask me why it wasn't in my own top 100. It's because I like it a lot, but I'm kind of waiting to see how the expansions take it. I think it's more of an enjoyable side road for me than something that I'm really going to get into. I still think Thunderstone and Pathfinder, Epic Thunderstone, the way I play it, and Pathfinder kind of fit in the same compartment in a sense. So if push comes to shove, I think Thunderstone would win, but that could change. I do like the art in Pathfinder, and I do like the fact that Paizo is going to come out with an expansion probably every other month. And I think a lot of people are kind of enamored with that right now. I think this one is on a people's choice, partially because it's a good game, but I think also partially because it has that name recognition. Had this not been in the Pathfinder universe and had been the exact same game, I think it would have a harder time going. All right, so that was number 49, Pathfinder. Number 48, Tzolk'in, another new one to the list. This one came out Essen a year ago, so I think that's kind of interesting because we're going to see what games from Essen that came out this year will we see in the top People's Choice Top 100 next year. Well, let me make some guess on that. I'm pretty sure we'll see Caverna. You probably see that on my top 100 list. I think we'll see maybe Glass Road. Concordia, a lot of people are talking about that one. Nations, a lot of people are talking about that one. Those are the four, I think, that have a possibility of making it a People's Choice, but there's always a couple that surprise me. Tzolk'in is not a surprise. It was a big smash hit of 2012 and still being played today, not just because of the mechanical gears, but because people really like the heavy worker Euro placement style of it. So that's number 48, Tzolk'in. Number 47 is Thunderstone. And, of course, we just talked about Thunderstone, and I'm glad to see that people are still enjoying it quite a bit. It has a following. I remember when it first came out, people were like, rip off a Dominion. But there's been a lot of deck builders that have come out since then, and Thunderstone is one of the few that survives. It is the L5R. It is to L5R as Dominion is to Magic the Gathering. Maybe. Is that a good analogy? Probably not. Okay. Well, let's see. That was number 47. Number 46 is another new game to the list. Although this came out a year ago at Essen also, but just hit wide release a few months ago, and that's Robinson Crusoe. Now, Robinson Crusoe is an incredibly fun cooperative game. Now, I've had a lot of people ask me, what do you like better, Robinson Crusoe or Castaways, which is another similar one? And this is a good question. I think both were really good games, but I think I'm going to have to pick, well, I'm not going to have to pick. I obviously have picked. I've picked Robinson Crusoe, although I gave Castaways to the guy in my gaming group, so I have the opportunity to play both. By the way, folks, that's a good idea. If you want to store lots of games, give them to your friends, and they'll store them for you. But anyhow, I think... Where are we? I just totally lost my train of thought. Robinson Crusoe. I picked Robinson Crusoe because it's more... Castaways is just one game with a lot of different choose-your-own-adventure stuff in it. Really cool. Robinson Crusoe has several scenarios, and each scenario plays like a completely different game. So even though Castaways is probably a little easier for people to play, not to win, I think Robinson Crusoe has longer legs, and with each new scenario, it's like a game kit. It's pretty cool. So, but I am surprised that it's so high on the list already. 45 is Lord of the Rings, the card game, which was 37 last year. Now, this one interested me because I enjoyed this game, but it didn't seem to me like a cooperative game would be that fascinating in the LCG model. But obviously it has, and it's taken off in a big way. I even got Mike Vincent on our own channel here. If you like the game at all, he's going through all the different cards and strategies. Does an excellent job on that. So maybe I'm a little surprised, but at the same time, it is a quality game. 45, Lord of the Rings, the card game. Number 44 is Forbidden Island. Forbidden Island is a fantastic game from Matt Leacock, designer of Pandemic. Some people call this the simple version of Pandemic, and at first blush, it is kind of like that. But what people don't forget is this is a superior family game. It is a superior way to teach people, to get them in the hobby. And in fact, I think for many people, it's probably easier than Pandemic because it's so easy to teach, the bright colored pieces, it looks good, the theme is strong, and obviously it's on the list. It's certainly one of the few tins on the list, and that is number 44, Forbidden Island. Number 43 is Shadows over Camelot. Shadows over Camelot, which was 41 last year and 37, so it holds its position pretty strongly. And I think this is great because Shadows over Camelot is one of those games that people will, that people's like, oh yeah, Shadows over Camelot, used to play that, and that's way in the past. But it's still high on people's list because it's still a high quality game. I am thinking I'm going to do a People's Showdown at some point where we for Dice Tower Showdown where we do Shadows over Camelot versus Battlestar Galactica. That'd be interesting. So number 43, Shadows over Camelot. Number 42, Ghost Stories. Now I love Ghost Stories. It was very high on my top 100 list, and yet it's also very high on the People's Choice top 100 list. It was 55 last year, so it's actually gone up, and that's kind of odd because no new expansion, no big push that I know of. I just think, honestly, it's just a superb cooperative game. Now, I think in this, I just mentioned 5 cooperative games in a row, haven't I? Robinson Crusoe, Lord of the Rings card game, Forbidden Island, Shadows over Camelot, Ghost Stories. You can mock and yell about cooperative games all you want, folks, but they are here to stay. So anyway, 42 is Ghost Stories. 41 is another new one to the list, which is Seasons. Seasons from Asmodee really took the world by storm. I remember the first time I played it, wow, it was fantastic. And I played it with 2 players, then I played it with 4, then I played it with 3, then I played it with 4, then 2. It's an excellent game of rolling dice and choosing them. And I think you will see this one on the list for a while, and I think we'll see multiple expansions for it for a while. We'll have to see. So that's number 41, Seasons. All right, I'm 1/5 done. Let's see if there's any special questions. Someone was expecting Melody. It's not Melanie, it's Melody, M-E-L-O-D-Y. Melody's Top 100. Yes, it's coming tomorrow, noon. Let's see. Gosh Stories. That's an interesting name for a game, but probably not one. Will Caverna be on Sam's list? He has not yet played it, although I have played it with Z, and Z says it's better than Agricola. But that's not like gushing praise from either. He said it was good, just not great. All right, I see no other questions there right now. I'm sure some more will pop up as time goes by. So I'm going to go through 40 through 31, and maybe if there's some questions, I'll answer them, and maybe not. Still have it hard to believe that people want to watch this, but anyhow. Number 40, which was 30 last year and 36 the year before that, was Alien Frontiers. Alien Frontiers is the first big Kickstarter game where you put dice on different spots to control them. It's a solid, wonderful game. Also in my top 100. In fact, I'm having a lot of matchups with this area that we're talking about. But when a game is good, it's just very likable. I don't know. Okay, never mind. All right, so 40 is Alien Frontiers. 39, which was 26 last year and 18 the year before that, so it's kind of coming down a little bit, is Le Havre. Now, I'm really curious where Le Havre will end up when pitted against Caverna, because I really think Caverna is a halfway point between Agricola and Le Havre, and almost gives me a lot of the feelings I get from Le Havre, but with much cooler components. We'll see. I'm not saying whether Caverna is better than Le Havre or not. Come back in a year, and I'll give you a definitive answer, although I'm kind of scared because I don't know which one I'll pick. But enough people like this game. It's a pretty heavy game, I think, for at this point in the list, but still liked very much. Although, we're about to hit 2 more heavy games right in a row. 3 more games right in a row. Number 38 is A Game of Thrones, the board game. Now, the second edition really gave this one a boost. Oh, beautiful components. And a lot of cool things in it, but it does require somewhat of a commitment. Not one of my favorite games, but I cannot deny it and look at it and say, wow, that's a game that's high quality. In fact, someday I'm going to do a top 10 of our turkeys, games that we used to like a lot, and now we're kind of, That would be one of them, but it's not because I think the game is bad. It's just that it's so exhausting and draining for me to play it. But I know a lot of people like it. I guess, obviously, the surge of this being popular would be probably maybe the TV show. Number 37 is Twilight Struggle, which was 19 last year and 16, so it's dropped a bit. I think it's dropped because we've had more people than ever voting in the People's Choice Top 100 of all time, and because more people voted, with more people voting, less people likely have played Twilight Struggle, which would make the ranking go down. That is my guess. It's a solid, good, cooperative game. Not cooperative. Sorry, competitive 2-player game. Number 36 is Mage Wars. It was 129 last year, but it had just come out. So now it's up to 36, and I think that's a pretty solid ranking. Mage Wars is a very fun game. They just came out with the newest set, Druid vs. Necromancer, and I think it's going to form lifetime gamers. The kind of gamer who they love Mage Wars, and they play Mage Wars all the time. And a lot of other people will play it and enjoy it, and then go their merry way, and other people play it and say, this is too much for me. So I'm really curious to see where it will stop next year. I think this one's high on the list because some people just really vote highly for it. Number 35 is Magic the Gathering, which beats Mage Wars by one spot. Was 25 last year. Another solid game if they keep releasing sets. You know, Melody and I just bought 2 of the new Commander decks and played them. And I have to say that is the absolute most fun way I've ever had playing Magic the Gathering. You play with 40 life instead of 20. You have 100 cards. They're all different. You have this big commander that you can summon as soon as you get the mana for it. Wow, was it fun. I was able to play big creatures and big spells. And you know that the other person's not really making a cheese deck because they can't have multiple copies of the same type in there. Really a cool way to play. The only problem is those are expensive decks. So number 35 is Magic the Gathering. Number 34 is Stone Age, which was 22 last year and 17 the year before that. Stone Age is a very solid game, a worker placement game. Almost too simple for me to play these days. You know, if you suggest it, I'll say, you know, you want to play Pillars of the Earth? But I mean, Stone Age is a fun game. It's really a good one, and I can see why people like it. 33, which was 34 last year and 35, so it's slowly climbing in the ranks, is Galaxy Trucker, for which I believe another small expansion was released at Essen. I just played a game similar to Galaxy Trucker called Goblins Incorporated. I've reviewed that. You'll see that posted next week. It's not the same thing, okay? Galaxy Trucker just has that charm. It just has a cool space theme. It just works well. It makes me laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh. Also, Z and Sam hate it, but that doesn't mean it's not a good thing. Obviously, the people agree with me. Mice and Mystics was number 32. I know for a fact that this is one of the best-selling games that Plaid Hat has ever had, that it's just doing really well. One of the reasons I know that is because the amount of people who've donated to the Jack Vassell Fund for Rich Sommer narrating Mice and Mystics. It's incredible. Thousands and thousands of dollars have come into the Jack Vassell Fund from that alone. And so if any of you have done that and bought those, not only have you got a pretty cool thing to listen to the narration for Mice and Mystics, but you've also donate to the Jack Vassell Fund. And if nothing else, I'm going to pause this right here and say there's an auction right now that is just mind-blowing. So the cool stuff that's been added. And I even know more cool stuff will be added to it. So go check that out. You can find the link on dicetower.com. But anyway, Mice and Mystics is very, very popular. People really like it. I just played it a few weeks ago with a group of kids, and they just really got into it. Great storyline. And number 31 is Smash Up. This is also new to the list, which surprised me because I really thought it would make the list last year considering how popular it was at Gen Con. But it didn't. So anyhow, Smash Up is a fantastic game. Easy to play. I just saw it being played at my gaming group this past Tuesday. I think I saw it being played a couple of gaming groups before that. It's a game, and there's always these new factions and things. So that's 31 to 40. Let's see if there's any questions. Today on Board Game Geek, Bruno Feduti almost confirmed a new reprint of Mission Red Planet by a new publisher. Huh. It's like I said that a few days ago. I must have been a lucky guess. Let's see. Where do I get such dapper board gaming attire? Well, this is just a security hat. I bought this in Korea. I thought it was funny, and I wear it whenever I do a youth group event. This Manhattan Project, this is a really good shirt. I got it from Minion Games. If you're a game publisher and you have a shirt, I'll wear it on the show. It's free advertising for you as long as the shirt's comfortable. I have no qualms. I'll wear if someone out there sends me a shirt that says something like Kalis is the best game ever and Cosmic Encounter is terrible, I'd probably wear it. As long as the shirt was comfortable. I probably wouldn't wear a shirt with profanity or something on it. But other than that, I'm pretty. I keep trying to work out a deal with T-shirt companies. I'll wear their T-shirts if they want. It doesn't matter to me. Ties, though, are still better than T-shirts. Anyhow. Robo Rally is not on the People's Choice list this year? Huh. I don't have... Let's see if I can... I don't think I have the People's Choice list down that far. Yeah, there it is. Well, that's too much work for me to do right now. What game am I most excited to play next week at Board Game Geek Con? I don't really have... what I'm most excited to play is the space simulation game. I can't remember the name of that game, where you sit in the chairs and you're doing a computer screen and it feels like you're in the bridge of Star Trek. I'm really excited about that one. Other than that, I don't have any real... I'm going to try to play a lot of different games as time goes by. I don't have any real preferences one way or the other which game I'm looking forward to. I'll play a lot of new ones. I was fortunate this year to get a lot of the Essen games pretty quickly. So most of the ones, maybe Nations, I wouldn't mind trying it out, but I hear it's long too. Anyway, let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Games you have to continually buy. Okay. Well, anyway, that's all the questions I can see on my screen. I don't feel like scrolling. So let's, near the end, folks, I'll answer a lot of questions until you get tired or I get tired. Okay, so we're at 30. Castles of Burgundy, which was 48 last year, so it's going up. I call this the Cabal effect. The founders of Secret Cabal really love Castles of Burgundy, almost to the point of embarrassing to listen to them talk about it. So I know a lot of their fans are also Dice Tower fans. There's a lot of crossover there. They really like that game. It is a solid game, although I just gave it up out of my collection. Not because I didn't like it, but because something had to go. And what took the place of it? This what did I put in the place of it? I think it was Among the Stars. I think Among the Stars took the place of it. Yeah, I know they're nothing alike. They're just the same box shape. So anyhow, I know a lot of people like that, so that was number 30. Number 29 is Ticket to Ride Europe, which, no surprise there. I didn't combine the Ticket to Ride for People Choice because I know some people really like some maps and others. Like there's people who love Markland and some people who hate it. Some people like Ticket to Ride, some people who like the other ones. So I separate them out, and Ticket to Ride Europe, which was 40 last year, is up to 29. A very solid game. 28, which was 12 last year, and 7 the year before that, what is Puerto Rico. This is one of those games that a few people like to poo-poo upon, including my co-host, Sam Healy. Doesn't think it's that fantastic of a game, but it is. And I'm telling you this, folks, if it came out today, it would be met with the same acclaim. Maybe not the same. It probably wouldn't shoot up to number 1. But it would definitely break the top 50 of Board Game Geek because its mechanics are timeless, it's good, and we will still be talking about it in 20 years. A lot of games that came out in the same time frame as Puerto Rico, like Princess of Florence and Traders of Genoa, games which there was people like literally a slobber rolling down their face talking about how much they loved it. Those games are not talked about nearly as much today, and yet Puerto Rico still is. So I think that's a good indication of a timeless game. Let's see, where are we? Puerto Rico. Number 27 would make Sam happy because that is Twilight Imperium 3, which was 23 last year and 19. So it's sliding down a bit, but it is still a game that some people love. If you're ever going to play a Twilight Imperium game in a gaming group, some people are never going to play it, but you will find people who will gladly show up and devote hours and hours of their life to playing it. All right. Yes, Artemis. Thanks. Okay, let's see. Again, I'll get to some of these questions as time goes by. So don't, and ask them again at the end because I'm not going to scroll all the way back and get to them. Let's see here. Where are we now? That was Twilight Imperium. Number 26, Legendary, the Marvel deck builder from Upper Deck. This is a game that's, I'm obviously touting this one over the DC deck builder. It is an excellent game, and in fact, they just released a new expansion for it. The Sneeze expansion, the Fantastic Four, and I have my review going of that up next week too. I have currently 9 reviews scheduled for next week that they're already finished, and I'm trying to get 9 more done tomorrow because I'm going to be gone all next week at Board Game Geek Con. But we want to give you guys some reviews while we're gone. But I really love this new one. It's really fun to play with the Fantastic Four together. So, I'm glad people like this one. Same as me. Number 25 is Dixit. Dixit, which was 28 last year and 26 the year before that. This is the party game of gamers. Now, I find it interesting because I think party games, and I'll say this every time, and I don't care what other people say, I think party games are just as qualified to be on a top 100 list as any gamer game that's out there. And, obviously people disagree with me with these things, but for some reason, the people who they poo-poo on party games, Dixit is somehow like the darling party game. It's allowed to be in top 100 lists for some reason. It's a great game, but I don't get it sometimes. But anyway, beautiful artwork, obviously in the top 25. We're in the top 25. Cool. 24, ranked higher than Twilight Imperium, is Eclipse, which was 17 last year. Now, I think the shine of the whole Eclipse is kind of wearing off, although I did see the new ship sets that were released at SNL. That looked beautiful. So that's cool. And I think the theme of Eclipse, after having played Hegemonic, I now think Eclipse is much more of a 4X game. Because Hegemonic is very abstracted out. But a lot of people still like it. Number 23, which was 20 last year, is Descent 2.0. And I think maybe by next year, I'm just going to stop saying 2.0, and I'm just going to start saying Descent. Because I think it's already replaced Descent for most people. You're always going to have a group of people, like the same people who are still playing the original Dungeons & Dragons. And that's fine. You can like an original edition. But for most people, they move on to the next one. And I think that's happened with Descent, a very solid game. Number 22 is Love Letter. This is a new one to the list. Not a surprise. Love Letter is the dominion of small deck card games. I mean, since Love Letter came out, we then had Coup come out. We've had, I think I've reviewed like 7 or 8 of them in the last couple months. Most of them from Japan. But there's a lot of people trying their hand at this small card thing. I mean, there's even one that I'll be reviewing next week. The One Night Werewolf. That's just a few cards. This is the rage. Love Letter started it, but yet it's still very popular. All right, let's see here. That was 22. 21, Mage Knight, the board game. Now, as an aside, if you notice right there, you can see the Mage Knight expansion, and people say, why haven't you reviewed that yet? Because Mage Knight is a harder game to get to the table, which is why Terra Mystica is not on the table, has been reviewed yet, because both those games involve a lot, so they're harder for me to get to the table multiple times to be able to review them properly. I have played both those games in expansion. They will come soon. But anyway, Mage Knight, the board game, is a game that people really enjoy and really diehard fans of it. And so I expect this will be on the list for a while. So that's number 21. 20 to go. Let's see. Where are we over here? Boo Eclipse. Okay, yeah. Dungeons & Dragons is the best RPG ever. And I don't see any questions, so we'll move on. Question time will just have to come at the end. Let's power through these last 20 here, okay? Number 20, Race for the Galaxy, which was 9 last year and 9 the year before that. Maybe people are a little irritated that Rio Grande has promised us an expansion for Race for the Galaxy for like 2 years now, and we still haven't seen the new one come out. I don't know that that should affect our feelings for Race for the Galaxy as a whole, although I'd kind of given up on this ever appearing. The last I heard it was supposed to come out in November. Hang on. I'm going to quick check cool stuff just to make sure that it hasn't come out in the last couple days. No, I would have. I get a lot of the pre-release stuff, but let's see. I'm not seeing it released. Okay, so I think I can successfully say that it's not out yet. All right, great. Okay, so it's not out yet. But anyway, the original Race for the Galaxy, a really fun game, and there you go. Okay, so let's see. That's Race for the Galaxy. Number 19, X-Wing Miniatures. Now, as I said in the Gone Forever video, this one I'm really happy about because it validates us voting for X-Wing Miniatures as the best game of 2012 for the Dice Tower Awards. We got a lot of flack for that. A lot of flack. How can you pick that for best game? But on the People's Choice here, it is number 19, and it is, let's see here. Yes, it is the highest new game that was added since last year. So I think that's a very valid choice that we made. It wasn't even the one that I voted for, but a lot of other people did, and it's a game that's still going strong. Now, you can argue, and fair enough, that it's the Star Wars license that's making that game so very popular, but I think it's a very solid system. I've played it many times since. It's good. I don't expect it to leave my collection anytime soon, and I know a lot of people really like it. So that was number 19. Number 18, Arkham Horror. This one always fascinates me about the fact that Arkham Horror has been out for such a long time and yet sells really well for Fantasy Flight, has lots of fans, and has many expansions. How will this stack up when Eldritch Horror comes out next year? We'll have to wait and see, but I think because Arkham Horror has the word Arkham in it, I think it will do better as time goes by. We'll have to see. Number 17 jumped up from 57 last year, and that's Sentinels of the Multiverse. Part of that is probably that beautiful second edition and some of the really cool expansions they put out. And I hear there's even more coming out soon. It's just very exciting to play this game. When I just recently did a Dice Tower Showdown where we did Marvel Legendary against DC Deck Builder, and both sides said, oh, yeah, but we all like the Sentinels better. Sentinels just has that very strong superhero flavor to it. So that's number 17. Number 16 is Cosmic Encounter. Not number 1. That's my number 1. But I am glad to see that a lot of people do like this. I've always said it's not for everybody. And I know some people who really hate it or just really don't get it. But the people who do like it, like myself, it's one of their favorite games. See, I always wondered if we did a list of what is your favorite game, what game would most people pick? Because there's a lot of games that are pretty high in this list that people say, oh, it's one of my favorite games, but not their favorite game. But I would guess that many people, Cosmic Encounter is their favorite game, myself included, while for many people, it's their least favorite game. Number 15, which was number 16 last year, number 29 is Summoner Wars, still going strong. I just did my top 100, and a lot of people were talking about how they didn't understand how I like Summoner Wars and how it was simple and basic. I'm telling you, though, it's like a step above an abstract strategy game. And then you get these units, they're cards, and you roll dice. I don't know. I've not got tired of it yet, and I've played it dozens and dozens and dozens of times. Very fun game, and with all the factions, just tons of variety. So that's Summoner Wars at number 15. Number 14 is Battlestar Galactica. Now, I talked in my top 100 about how this one fell off because the time commitment for it was not equaling the fun I was getting out of it. And I was starting to play some really long games of it. But obviously, it's still fun. At every convention I've ever gone to, I see people playing this. Battlestar Galactica, number 14. Number 13 is The Resistance. I didn't combine that with Resistance Avalon because they were both very high. And I combined them with the voting just to see what happened. And Resistance didn't move because in these top 15, the gaps between them are very high. And so The Resistance is a game that people really enjoy and have a really good time with. It's for a lot of people, it's replaced Werewolf. I saw in Dice Tower Showdown the people voting which argument do you agree with, and most people agreed with Resistance versus Werewolf. I'm still a Werewolf man myself, but, well, be that as it may. Number 12 is Settlers of Catan, with 7 last year and 5 the year before that. It's a game that's absolutely amazing and fantastic, and so many different itinerations and expansions and stuff. There's not a whole lot more I'm going to talk about it, really, because it's just kind of there. Settlers of Catan. Number 11 is Power Grid, which was 10 last year and 3 the year before that. What else is there to say? I mean, Power Grid is just a fantastic game. It's probably the heaviest game that made it this high, and for good reason. It's just a strong, powerful game, a game that a lot of people like very much. Top 10, here we go. Number 10 was 101 last year, but that's because it had just been newly released after being out of print for over a decade, and that is Android Netrunner. Android Netrunner, a game that when I played it, I expected to not be as enamored with as I was, and yet I was really surprised. Really liked the asymmetrical gameplay. A fantastic game, Android Netrunner at number 10. Number 9, the original Carcassonne. So Carcassonne is rated higher than Settlers of Catan. That I was surprised at. Still going strong. Just today, Z, Sam, and me released a review of Carcassonne South Seas Around the World, the first in the Around the World series. So I suspect you'll be seeing Carcassonne for a long time. I also saw a Carcassonne Winter Edition. I think there's more Carcassonne variations out there than you'll ever be able to play, and little expansions and things. Number 8 is Small World, which was number 8 last year. Really cool to see this one. I'm really excited to get the deluxe edition that's coming next year sometime. But even without that, it's just a straight, solid game. Easy to play, works with 2 players. You can play with people who aren't big into fantasy or who are big into war, and it works really well in both regards. If you told me that one of my favorite games would be deterministic combat, I would have been kind of surprised. After having played Small World, I'm not. Number 8. Number 7, which was 3 last year and 2 the year before that, is Agricola. Will it hold its position with Caverna smashing it? On my list, it won't. That's kind of a spoiler for next year, but I've already said that in my review. But Agricola is just a game that a lot of people like, And for those who hate it, that's fine. I understand that people hate it, but I'm telling you, there's people who just like the idea. When you're done with Agricola, you look at the board and you see what you've done. It's not 8 points over here in the corner. You see your farm. And a lot of people like that. Number 6, which was 14 last year. Now number 6 this year is Lords of Waterdeep. Is that because of the expansion? Maybe. But I also think that it's gotten a big buzz, a lot of push in the internet. I believe it was on tabletop. I don't know if it was on tabletop, but I think it was. And a lot of people have been reviewing it and talking about it. And of course, it has the Dungeons and Dragons theme. Easy pick for the list, Lords of Waterdeep. Number 5, which was number 2 last year, is Seven Wonders. Oh no, it's down to number 5. I think being a number 5 is a pretty good position to be. And Seven Wonders is a very good drafting game. I'm really looking forward to playing the expansion for Among the Stars. Because if Among the Stars keeps coming out with expansions, I think I'll like that better. Well, I already do like it better than Seven Wonders, but I just like the tile laying aspect of it. Number 4, which was number 4 last year, Ticket to Ride. Is there anybody watching who's surprised by that? Probably not, so we'll continue on, except to say, what a great game. I still wish it's one of those games like, why didn't I design it? Such a great game. Ticket to Ride. Number 3, which was number 1 last year. This is a drop, and it was number 1 the year before that, and that's Dominion. Dominion, that's not a big fall. Not a big fall. Obviously, still people are loving it. Number 3 is nothing to scoff at. But last year it was number 1. It had almost double the votes of number 2 last year, which was Seven Wonders. And number 3 last year was Agricola. And there was a big jump between all those. Dominion has dropped a lot, really. There's a big difference in votes between 1 and 3. So who knows? Will it go down lower next year? Is it old news? I don't know. Still think it's a fantastic game. But I am finding myself playing other deck builders more. And number 2, which was 18 last year. This was a big surprise to me, and that's King of Tokyo. Now, I love King of Tokyo. I think it's a great game. It's number 2, though. But you know what? That makes sense, because everywhere I go, it's played at almost every meetup. I bring it almost every time in my box, because you never know. We might have a chance to play it. And it's just silly fun. And they just released another expansion for it, so I think that that's going to make it stay in number 2. I don't know. We'll see. It's not ever, I don't think it will ever be number 1. Although, wouldn't that be cool? Can you imagine some of the diehard Euro gamers when they see this list, they're looking at it like, what? Number 2, King of Tokyo. Are you saying that's better than Kalis? Are you saying that's better than Le Havre and Agricola and Castle of Burgundy? Yeah, we are. King of Tokyo, number 2. And number 1, which was number 5 last year, is Pandemic. Pandemic, a fantastic game. Cooperative, what else can you say about it? It was 5 last year, 6 the year before that, has moved up to number 1, took that position solidly away from Dominion. It's very interesting to me. I'm curious to see how that will go on in the future. So, after tomorrow, when Melody does her top 100, we'll post all this information online somewhere. I'll give it to the stat guys. They'll have fun. Maybe someone will make a geek list of these. If you're interested in that, email me and say you want the Excel file. I'll send it to you and you can make a geek list. All right. So, let's see here. I will now take some questions, and the part of the list that is about the People's Choice Top 100 is now over. So, for those of you who are just for that, you can go. I'm going to watch the numbers go, woo! And if you have any questions for me, you can post them there on the side. Okay, there's a question for us. Will you ever record a playthrough of Cosmic Encounter? Okay, this is what I'm thinking about doing. I'm talking to Sam and Z and a couple other gamers in my game group. We are thinking of doing a 24-hour gaming marathon over the Christmas break and streaming it live. Now, I don't know how interesting that would be for you. I mean, you guys, right there, you can see the whole table, and you can see us sitting around it. We would try to sit so that nobody has their back to the camera somehow. I'll set it. I'll see what I can do. But would that be enjoyable? I don't know. I don't know if I can make 24 hours of gaming, but if we did so, we would do Cosmic Encounter. Scott King says, why do you think Dice Tower People's Choice list is so different from the Board Game Geek Top 100 list? Well, I'll tell you why. Because a couple reasons. One, on this list, you only voted for your favorite games. So you didn't vote down games. So games that a lot of people hate didn't have that taken away from them, which is why you'll see some games higher on the list, because some games like Arkham Horror would be lower because some people absolutely hate it. That's one reason. Another reason is we do a fresh count every year. So we're not taking into account a lot of votes that people put in the system that have stayed there forever and they haven't changed. I change my votes every once in a while on Board Game Geek, but it's a massive task. I mean, I've rated thousands of games there, and sometimes when I'm looking through games, I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't updated that rating since 2007. Let's change it. Does it need to be changed? Whatever. It makes me think about it, but most people aren't going to do that. So the cold of the new makes a game everyone likes it, and then it fades off. You don't see that, so that's why. All right. Let's see. If invited, would I go on tabletop, says Dan. Yes, I probably would, although I doubt Will Wheaton knows we exist. Let's see here. Any chance you're getting a review of CO2 done? No, unfortunately, no. I allowed Ryan Metzler and I'm sure a couple of the other Euro game. It just isn't my style of game to review. I'll tell you what I think about it. I think it's an interesting game. I wasn't a huge fan of it, so I thought I'd pass it off on to them and have those guys review it instead of me. It was just the best use of my time. I would have to play it many, many more times to make a good review of it. When is HeroQuest 25th edition coming? Well, it's coming from France, so I don't know. The last I knew, it was supposed to be coming out next year. I wasn't sure if they were going to run some kind of Kickstarter or Indiegogo program for it. I hope so. I'm looking forward to it. It looks, I still have a lot of good memories of that game. Let's see here. Will there be a top 10 light war games list? Yeah, that's coming. I think me, Sam, and Z will do that at some point. Which game do I want to see reprinted the most? No one ever believes me when I say this. I don't care. I mean, every once in a while I'll talk about a game and I'll say, oh, they should reprint this one. But I usually have it. Like Star Wars Queen's Gambit and Mission Red Planet, I have those games. So I'm not like dying personally. Maybe for the general public, on other people's behalfs. But honestly, even if they didn't ever reprint a game again. Oh, HeroQuest would be one, I guess. But if they never reprint a game again, who cares? We have so many good games to play. There's no time to sit around yearning about the past. There are so many good games that you can go to the store and buy right now. But if you made me a twist of my arm, I'd say HeroScape. All right. How do you prepare for the spoken part of your reviews? Well, I'll tell you this. When I do a review, the hardest part of doing the review, by far, is the rules explanation. That part of the review. The rest of it, gravy. I can just snap those out. But the rules explanation takes a while. I sit down and I always read the rules one more time before I do it, just in case. Then I set it up, and I decide how much of it I'm going to show. I try to decide the order, and I do that. And I often re-edit those. The intro and outros, where I talk about my opinion, I almost never redo those unless I sneeze or the door has to be shut halfway through them. And I'm pretty good at thinking on the fly. As I'm playing games, I'm thinking in my head, how am I going to talk about this? What are things I'm going to say about it? I ask other people, what are your opinions? And then I steal them and use them on my video or not. But I mean, I listen to others, and that's what I do. So I never use a script for those. I use a script for the Dice Tower audio show, but it's more of a talking points than it is any kind of script. I haven't found a perfect pirate game yet. What would I want in a perfect pirate game? I'd want swashbuckling. I want there to be piratey stuff. I don't know. I really like Pirates Cove from Days of Wonder. That's really close. But I don't know. I don't know what I want in a perfect pirate game. I just know that when I see it, I'll know it. That's a terrible answer. Tell us about the upcoming robot game you're making. I can't. Too many changes right now. My apologies. It's coming. Besides zombies, what's my least favorite theme? Well, zombies isn't my least favorite theme. Terrorism is not a theme I'm very fond of. There was a game one time about prison rape, basically. That's not a theme I'm a big fan of. There's probably a lot of other themes, too. Okay, let's see here. Do I think the market in general is flooded? Yes and no. Yes, there's a gazillion games out there, but many of them are selling. I think what we're seeing is we're seeing a lot fewer games selling tons of copies. Instead, we're seeing a lot of games selling small amounts of copies. Now, I'll tell you this. I was talking to someone the other day and saying, look, there's 500 games that came out at Essen, maybe 600, 700, who knows how many. And by this time next year, we'll be talking about 15 of them. And that's really the truth of it. the evergreen games, games that continue to sell well as time goes by, those games, those are few and far between. So the market is flooded with smaller games, I guess, but I just don't see how that's a problem except for publishers. All right, I have 3,000 plus games. That is not correct. I have 300 or so games, and I'm not including anything on this shelf. Right here behind my hand here, that shelf, those are games that need to be played and or reviewed. So every game on that shelf will likely not be kept, and if it is kept, it will replace one of the games on my main shelves. So if you look over here, these are where most of my games are. Sorry about the mess. You can see this is my wall of games that I often show in the background of my videos. These are my favorite games for the most part. So all my games are either there, or there's that card game shelf that's right behind my hat. That's where I keep all my card games. And I keep a few other games on this shelf over here. And then over here is where I keep HeroScape. So really, I don't keep that many games. I play a ton of games. I don't keep them because I think if I'm going to keep games, I should play them once in a while. And there's no way I could play 3,000 games once in a while. It's okay if you're someone who collects a lot of games, just not me. All right, what's my favorite game to play with my wife? Ticket to Ride. Ticket to Ride. Do I get much time to actually play games during Dice Tower Con? I get to play lots of games at Dice Tower Con. I just walked around. I tried to play games with different groups of people all the time so I could play with as many people as possible. I probably played more games there than I'll play next week. I bet you at Board Game Geek Con I'm going to spend more than half time just shooting the breeze with people because I love doing that and I get to see a lot of you. So come talk to me. No problem talking games while you're there. Suburbia or Keyflower, both great games. Suburbia. Let's see. I got a +1 to the most awesome gaming group ever. Do I take Sam or Z? There's no way I'm answering that question. Although I'll tell you this. I have a secret list in my head of my 10 favorite gamers to play with ever. And I mentioned maybe a few of these people every once in a while. There are just some people who I love playing games with. And these people are scattered all over the world. But there's lots of people I play games with. In fact, most people I like to play games with. There's only a few that I'm not a big fan of. Top 10 expansions list. We already did that. Favorite games, Hook 9 Gamers. That's called Gateway Games. We already did that too. Trains and Stations. Would I pick it over Ticket to Ride? I would not pick Train Stations over Ticket to Ride. In fact, if you can look at my top 100 list, I did not. But Trains and Stations is a good, solid game, and it is on my shelf. It has a very different feeling. It's like a really, really, really light stock market type game. House Rules, would I suggest for Mission Red Planet? No, it's great as is. What happens when you run into the designer of a game that I panned in a review? Well, that all depends on the designer. There are a few designers who won't talk to me at conventions for different reasons. But there are designers who I panned their games in the past and are very friendly with me. I remember the first time I met Eric Lang, and I just reviewed Senator, and I smashed it. And that was back when I very rarely panned the game. And I was so embarrassed talking to him, but he was very gracious and nice. And since then, I've really enjoyed his games, including the one we just talked about, Trains and Stations. There's been a lot of designers who I've panned their games, but usually they have another game that I said I liked. So that's what we concentrate on as we talk. And if I meet you and you've reviewed nothing personal, I wouldn't be that upset with you. I mean, if you hate the game, then so be it. That's fine. I might feel uncomfortable when I'm running into people who've called me liars on the internet in the past. That's a little bit different. But if I pan someone's game, now I'm going to pan a game very badly this coming week. I mean, I furiously hate this game. And when I do that to a game sometimes, I'm not sure how those people will like talking to me. But you can guess on the game. You won't get it. It's a small game you probably never heard of. Okay, let's see here. By the way, I'm just looking at the questions. They scroll down. So if your question has not been answered and you asked it a while ago, then I've missed it. You can ask it again. Top 10 light games, that's coming. Do I ever not enjoy a game of Cosmic Encounter? Nope, I've enjoyed every single one I've ever played. Do you have any suggestions for starting a game testers group? That's a whole session. I'll talk about that sometime. Culling and Collecting Forever, Vassals and Verse, Engelsteinism. That's a good one. We'll talk about that. But that's more of a personal preference. It's not. I don't have a problem with people who collect. How much was my game table? That's coming up in a review in the future. I wanted to talk about the game table for a while, but I wanted to wait for a bit. And also, I did get a discount on it because of me using it as a promotional thing in my videos. And it also was a business expense for the Dice Tower, which is a little bit easier to talk about. I mean, easier for me to justify than me doing it as a personal expense because it is a very expensive table. Carlos, if I'm not going to answer any questions anymore about which games do I like better. I made a top 100 list for a reason. Go look at that, okay? Let's see. Do I have a favorite designer? Someone asked. We're doing a top 10 designers soon, so you can see that then. How do I prevent myself from burning out in board games? Do I see myself reviewing them in 10 years? Yes, to the second question. I do see myself reviewing them in 10 years. I prevent myself from burning out because I just don't do it all the time. I don't play games. I really like doing them, though. I like thinking about board games almost as much as playing them. I don't know. I go do other things. Like today, I went and watched my girls play basketball, and I just watched part of Monsters University with the kids, and I watch TV sometimes. Just I read books, read comics. I'm active in my church. I'm not doing board games all the time. You just think I am. Let's see. What is wrong with Tash Clark? You have to wait for my review. Does Melody choose all the games by herself, or do you help her? For her top 100, she chooses them completely. I help her kind of get the list together, but I don't push her towards any games. I'm very surprised at some of her picks. You'll see. It's not a kid's list anymore at all. The Xmas shopping lists, the Christmas shopping lists, they will be posted the week of Thanksgiving. That's all. I won't be putting out any reviews that week. We're just going to put out some Christmas shopping lists for everybody. And I think Sam and Z might be helping with that, although I'm not sure. Has there a game where I gave a negative review over time? I found it a good game. Yeah, I think there's been a couple of those. One of those would be Smarty Party, which is a game I wasn't a big fan of when I played it, and I gave it a negative review. But as time has gone by, I found it was actually a pretty good game. Have I used the Vassal program? It has a great name, but I find it too convoluted. It doesn't force you to adhere to the rules, so you can make rules mistakes and not get it. Both players kind of need a board. It's in this day and age, it's just too much work. If I'm going to play a game online, which I hardly ever do anyway, I want to play something where I click and it snaps things into positions and it does all the extra rule stuff for you. When will Nothing Personal be available in the United Kingdom and Europe? I don't know. I know it's selling pretty well. I just got my numbers in for the last month, and we sold 350 copies, which is nice. I mean, that's not stellar and super, but it is pretty cool that at least some people are buying it. Who knows? I'm curious how many people would be interested in expansion. I'll have to do a thing about that. I like a small expansion with more designers. Let's see. Carlos, I'm sorry. I did not mean to call you out there. My apologies. You just happened to ask the question at the wrong time. What I'm saying is, for a lot of people asking me which game do I like better than others, it's just easier if you look at my top 100, because I'm almost afraid to answer those because I might answer differently than my top 100. I don't want to get in trouble. I'm sorry, Carlos. Forgive me. Let's see. Top 10 innovative games. That's coming. Do I have a favorite publisher at the moment? Are you kidding? I'm not going to say that on the air. I'll get in trouble. There's a lot of publishers I like. Arcane Wonders, Cool Stuff, Asmodee, Days of Wonders, Fantasy. I have too many. Okay, I'm not gonna even. I'm stopping there because I was gonna list 20 more. And so if you're a publisher wondering if I was about to list yours, I was just about to say so. Steve Jackson. Let's see here. Do I watch any non-Dice Tower reviews or podcasts? I listen to a few podcasts in the Dice Tower network. I don't know that I go outside the Dice Tower podcast network when listening to gaming podcasts because I think all the best ones are in the network. Outside it, I occasionally watch bits of tabletop. I actually really like the name, Spellslingers, I think it's called, the new Magic the Gathering thing that's on Geeks and Sundries. I'm not a huge Magic the Gathering player, but I just really like that one. I don't know what it is. I think maybe it's because the jokes when they make them back and forth, they feel real rather than forced. I've also been watching the Bored to Death series. The guys who do the jokes. If you haven't seen it, it's a PG-13 and you hate all the characters. It's like Seinfeld, but it is pretty funny. They're gonna be at Board Game Geek Con next week. I'm interested to meeting them. And I watch a couple of the other reviewers occasionally, but not very often. I'm really busy producing my own content, so I don't get to watch others as much as I'd like to. All right. How likely is TI3 to be one of the games during the 24-hour stream? Very unlikely. I'm going to try to pick games I think that fit very well. You will see us playing, I mean, I can't guarantee these games, but the types of games, you might see a party game. You might see Tales of Arabian Nights. You'll see probably nothing personal being played. Cosmic Encounter, Robin Hood. Games where you can see us really getting into the game. Dice Steeple, will it ever come back? It is planning on coming back. That's an early 2014 project for me at this point. I have some ideas and thoughts on what I'm going to do with it. There's just always something. My newest big project that I'm working on right now is coming out this Monday. Well, this Monday we're going to roll out a small way. I'm going to be turning my weekly news broadcast into a much larger thing, maybe closer to 45 minutes to an hour, and having contributors on that and people talking about different things. Very excited about this. If you're interested in being involved with this, email me. And I think this will be something cool, but maybe not. But I'm always willing to try new things. Let's see here. Fury of Dracula, I know nothing about it. My apologies. Let's see. How do I find time and how do I get my wife on board with that? I get heat trying to play once a month. Well, I'll tell you this. Every couple's different, so I can't really give anybody a magic answer to how to do something in their relationship as opposed to something in my relationship with my wife. I spend a lot of time with my wife, and it's really easy right now because I'm home all the time. So even though I'm in here playing games and doing stuff, that's work at this point in time. And I see her like all day long. I'm at home, and so I go and see her. Now, when I was doing other things, I played games a lot, but I made sure to spend time with her other times, and she was good with that. I don't mind when she goes off and does stuff, and she doesn't mind when I go off. And that's just how it's always been. I don't know how to explain it. We just really get along well that way. How do I get time to play all the games? I just play them as often and everywhere as I can, except at conventions for some reason. My favorite video game. My favorite video game is by far Final Fantasy Tactics. Love that game. Close second would probably be XCOM, Terror of the Deep. And Civilization 4. I really like that one. Those would be my top three very easily. I also like Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 10. One of the Dragon's Quests that I played I liked a lot. Final Fantasy 2 for the Game Boy. SimCity 2000, some stuff like that. In the last 5 years, haven't played enough of them, or almost any of them, to give you any kind of feedback. Let's see. What's your ideal number of players for Werewolf? 19. I don't know. For me, anywhere between 15 and 25 is a really good number. 45 is too many. I know this from experience. 60 I tried to run once. I'll never do that again. Level 7 Omega Protocol is a great game. Great game. Great game. Super great game. Get it. But will we play that during the live one? Who knows? I'm not making any promises because I haven't got them to agree to it yet. Now, granted, I can, even if Sam and Z don't want to do it, I'm sure I can find people. There's one guy in my gaming group, Jason, who will do it in a heartbeat. I'll be like, Jason, do you want to do 24 hours? He'll be like, yes. He'll play. But, I mean, finding other people may be tricky. We'll see. What's my view on role-playing games? I think they're fantastic. But I had to cut them out of my own life because I just can't do that much stuff. That sounded a little bit Shatnerish. Good night for those of you who have to leave. I apologize. I know it's late. It's only 9 o'clock here and earlier for those on the West Coast, but for those of you in England and Europe, I'm amazed that you would even stay up and watch those. Favorite dice game? I don't know. We'll do a top 10 dice game at some point. Let's do, how many copies does a successful game sell? Well, it's huge. Okay, here's how it works. There are some games that sell millions. And I'm not talking about mass market games. They probably, I mean, Monopoly and all them, they sell millions. But let's just talk about the hobby market. Ticket to Ride, Settlers of Catan, Carcassonne, Dominion, they have all sold millions. Then there's games that sell into hundreds of thousands and possibly millions. I don't know all these numbers off the top of my head, or even publishers are kind of close with their numbers. But in the hundreds of thousands, King of Tokyo and Pandemic and probably, I don't know if Agricola has probably reached hundreds of thousands, but I mean, some of these games have sold that much. Then there's the tens of thousands, and there's a few games that hit that. Then most games, 4,000, 5,000, those are well-selling games. And then a lot of games, 1,000. You'd be surprised at how many games there are that there's 1,000 or less copies. Or there's 5,000 copies, but 3,000 of them are still sitting at the warehouse somewhere. Just the way it works. Was it a tough decision to decide to dedicate a majority of your time and career toward the Dice Tower Network? Yes, it was. Mostly because I was really worried, would I be able to do it financially? In 2011, I did it for half the year. Or was that 2000? No, 2000. Yeah, 2011, I did it for half the year. And it... Was that 11? Yeah, I guess. Or is it 12? Yeah, 2012. I did it for half the year, last year. And it went okay. In 2013, I did it for the whole year. And I'm going to make it through the whole year. Barely. I probably spent too much on the Dice Tower itself. Advertising and trying out new things. And so I'll either have to raise more money next year, or I'll have to cut back on advertising and getting new equipment and stuff. We'll have to see. But still, it worked, which is pretty cool. And I'm still liking it. Because gaming is now my job, I don't hate gaming anymore. I still love it. All right. Will I say loudly, Christy, play? No. Christy, do whatever you want. You don't have to play anything with your husband. Is that loud enough? Let's see here. Descent or Omega Protocol? That's a tough one. And I'll tell you in this one, for me, the reply would be very simple. Do you want to do fantasy or sci-fi? That's really the difference. When you play the level 7 Omega Protocol, it feels like the movie Aliens. You know, you're moving around and aliens come out of vents and you're shooting them. Descent feels like a dungeon crawl with fantasy stuff. They're very different mechanics in both games, but they both are solid, good games. You can watch my 100 next year to see which one I put where. Let's see. Will Run Fighter Die make it onto my shelf? This is going to be a really dumb answer. It depends on the size of the box. I like it a lot. So we'll have to wait and see. But it depends on the size of the box. It was really fun. And I really do enjoy it. And you should get it. If it's still on Kickstarter, I don't know if it's over yet. But you should back it. But I don't know if it would make my shelf or not. Because nowadays, for a game to make it on my shelf, I just put level 7 Omega on my shelf. And I can't figure out what game I'm going to get rid of. And I think it's going to be Starfarers of Catan. Oh, it's terrible. I'll probably give it to Sam, though. So we'll be fine. Let's see. Let's see. When do I consider a game to be too fiddly to play? When I have to move things around the table all the time. I just played a game called World of Tanks Rush, where every turn you have to slide a card over, slide a card over, slide a card over. So annoying. At the same time, Caverna, you have to and Agricola, you have to replenish everything every turn. That's a lot of fiddliness too, but for some reason it doesn't bother me as much in those games. I don't know. Z was not in Korea. I do not play solo games. I apologize. Kickstarter burnout? I'm not burned out on Kickstarter, but I'm not... The things that excite me the most on Kickstarter these days are not actual games, but like game accessories. Like, oh, they got some neat dice here, or some cool accessory for this game, or they're making plastic meeples for Lords of Waterdeep. That's the stuff that really gets me excited. Because it's so hard to tell with the games. Nothing personal. I'm going to do that in the designer diary at some point. Talk about that. A video on resources for people when to get into producing board games. Maybe I'll do that in the future. But I'd rather you not produce board games. I'd rather you get into either designing them and giving them to current publishers. We do not suffer for a lack of publishers right now, folks. I promise you. There are hundreds and hundreds of gaming publishers. No one is sitting around going, I wish we had more publishers. It's just not happening. So I just sometimes wonder, why do people feel like we need another game publisher? I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but you really have to ask yourself, what are you going to offer that the other publishers already aren't? Anyway, that's a mini rant, I suppose. Let's see. I don't know where stores are, folks. That's not a good question to ask me. I apologize. Omega Protocol compared with Spacehawk. You know, I've never actually played Spacehawk. I had a chance. I've watched it being played. And it looks like a neat game, but I really like Omega Protocol. So why I don't know. I'm not going to go out of my way to hunt down a very expensive copy of Spacehawk. Do you have to jump onto a game when it comes out? Well, that's always the thing. You know, should I buy it when it comes out or I'll miss it? Well, if you miss it, there's enough other good games that are coming out right now. I don't know. I wouldn't worry so much about it. Do I purposely keep my political views to myself? 100% yes, do I keep them to myself. I try very hard not to bring up political or even hot topics on the show because this is a show where we talk about games. Now, you can kind of guess perhaps where my political leanings are because I'm an evangelical Christian. I'm not shy about that, even though I don't often bring that up on the show either, but I am one. And so I can have some very strong feelings in that regard. But I think that being an evangelical Christian is very different than being maybe a specific political person. And I have very strong political thoughts on many things, and many of them have changed over the years, where even many of my friends who are also evangelical Christians would disagree on my political thoughts on different things. I dislike the whole political process because I don't like the fact that one political party will criticize the other political party. They could run across the street, rescue a baby, lose an arm in the process, and the other political party would still say that they had done that for self-gain or something. And I never see really good dialogue happening. So that's why I'm not a real... I mean, I think politics is interesting, and it's a great game source, but in real life, it's just kind of depressing sometimes. But no one wants... I don't like when politics gets into gaming, so I try not to bring it in here. And I will very rarely do it or talk about it. Let's see here. Was Kremlin an influence on Nothing Personal? Yes, it was. Am I concerned about the rising sea level? I don't know. Nothing's happened to us yet. Is there a game you want to be streamlined? Yeah. Although... I'll come back to that, I think. When will we see top 10 surprising games? Like Spartacus, games that surprised us with how good they were. I feel like we've touched that on other lists. That might not be a bad top 10 list in the future. Do I sleeve my cards? Occasionally. I will sleeve cards where there's only a few of them, and we're shuffling all the time. Take Citadels, for example. I'll sleeve those. I've sleeved my Marvel Legendary cards because, well, the Upper Deck folks gave me these sleeves, and I put them in, and they looked really cool. But most of the time, I don't sleeve my cards. Do Sam and Z go to my church? Sam does. Z does not. Let's talk Kickstarter. I don't know what to talk about Kickstarter. Let's see here. Blah, blah, blah. Will you be playing games at Z's wedding? I don't know. Although I'll tell you, I had a very good friend of mine who I actually officiated his marriage. And after the marriage was over, after the wedding reception, we went back to their place and played games. That was not my opinion, or what I was. You know, I wouldn't push that on them, but that is what we did, and I thought it was a pretty cool way to spend the evening. Huzzah! You know, you're married now. Now let me destroy you. I destroyed them and raced for the galaxy. I remember that very, very well. That was a good wedding. And then the week after, I went to Origins. It was good. It was a good combo. What superpower would I want to have? Oh, wow, telepathy. Then you guys would all like Cosmic Encounter. Easy. How many ideas for top 10 shows do I currently have? Somewhere between 50 and 100. Sometimes we'll do a top 10 list. Like, for example, this week we were going to do our top 10 ugliest games. And so we were getting it together, and I just said, you know what, guys, this is logistically difficult because we're going to have to bring the games in and show them, because if you say game's ugly, but I'm not looking at it right now and I don't really remember what the game looks like, it's going to be a logistical difficulty to do, especially if we're trying to surprise each other with our choices. So we had to table that, and we moved to top 10 gaming disappointments. So I often shuffle them around and move them around, but, oh, there's so many top 10 lists. We have now been doing a Dice Tower for 8 years and haven't run out yet. What video editing software are you using? I'm using iMovie, and I know that I should be using a better video editing software, and I have some Premiere. I actually have Premiere, and I've been reading books on it. The thing is, it takes so much time to learn that, and all the time I would spend learning that would come out of me actually editing the videos. And I have all these templates made in iMovie, so it's a lot easier for me to edit them. What I really would like is to have a video editor, and for me not even to do that part of it and just do the recording. But one can dream. Is Zaya going to top Firefly the game? In my opinion, I don't know if it will do it in public sales, but in my opinion, it's way, way better. Love Zaya. What historical periods and settings do you think have been underused as themes for games? Well, I think the Old Testament, for one. I would like to see some battles between the Philistines and the nation of Israel. I also think that we don't see a lot about... I like to see more games based on the Spartans and 300 without it being the movie and comic book 300, but just the actual what really happened. I like to see some historical themes based on the Alamo and the Texan Revolution. I like to see some more stuff based on the political framework during the Civil War. I think that's interesting. I like to see maybe some of the political intrigue type stuff with what happened with Mary, the Queen of Scots, and Elizabeth, the Tudor. That time frame. There's really a lot of time frames of history that have not been looked at. You know, the founding of Australia. I don't know anything about that. I think that'd be a great theme. Is Yggdrasil the hardest game I've ever played? I don't think so. I think Robinson Crusoe is harder than Yggdrasil. Well, let's see here. Which games have I gotten another copy of? Because my previous copy was all worn out. Ticket to Ride. I don't know. Not many. Sorry. Guys, I'm starting to run out of steam here. I'll answer a few more questions, and then we got to shut this down so that I can go get some rest and relaxation so I can get some more reviews done for y'all tomorrow. I do not play very many heavy war games. Sorry, just not my genre. When's the last time I played TI3? It might be a year ago, actually. It's been a while. For those of you who are just coming in, who are seeing Ogre, if you notice, it's still in shrink wrap. I just got it before I started doing this video, so I do not know anything about the game. I never played the original. I'm excited to give it a try, but I see that it's going to take a long time to sort out after the component drop and then to actually play. So this one's going to come to the table, but don't expect to see the review for 3-4 weeks at least. How many games from Steve Jackson will be on your top 10 games I refuse to play? There would actually be a few, but I'm not any kind of downer on Steve Jackson games. They put out some great games, and they're a really great company to talk to and work with. So, let's see here. Have I seen Shadows of Brimstone on Kickstarter by Flying Frog? I've seen it. I see that it's very expensive, and that's all I know about it. And with most Kickstarter games, I'll just wait till it comes out and see what I think of it then. I'm 6'4". How tall is Melody? Melody is, I'm going to guess at this point because I haven't measured her lately, but I was just talking to my wife about it today. Maybe she's 5'9", 5'10". Oh no, that's pretty tall. Maybe 5'8", but she's pretty tall. Sam is 6 foot maybe. Z maybe an inch shorter than that. Could I suggest a couple sites to find cool game components and accessories? I guess Board Game Geek or BGDF.com, Board Game Designer Forum, BGDF.com. Those guys, if you're looking for accessories and ways to build your own board games, that is the place to go. Go there now. They're fantastic for fledgling game designers. My opinion on Myth? So overrated. My favorite race in TI3? The guys who get a free cruiser. Have my opinion on Hanabi changed? No, I still like it, but I don't think it's the greatest game ever like many people do. Let's see here. Am I keeping The Hobbit? No, a guy in my gaming group will probably get that. Let's see here. Do a little dance? No, sir. I saved those for videos. Oh, this is a video. But still, no, it has to be not planned. Also, my wife refused to let me do that publicly. What are games that get some shy people out of their shells? Here's a good one, if you can find it. Moods. Moods is a great game for that. Let's see here. Do you trust Sam or Z in a game of diplomacy? Sam very rarely lies straight up in games. He does occasionally. Z, no, I wouldn't trust him in a heartbeat. I would attack him. Man lies and everything. My favorite dice accessories. Dice boot, dice tower, dice tray. There's so many. Come on now. Favorite box art. That's a top 10 list. Sending me and the family. We don't even want to go to Hawaii. So we live in Florida. Why would we want to go to Hawaii? Let's see here. Ooh, did I catch up on questions? Or did it just no more, we're no more at it for a while? Will Zaya make my shelf? If it hasn't changed much from the way that it's when I played the prototype, then definitely. What new theme do you want to see used in board games? Someone still hasn't made one, a good one, I think, about shopping in a mall or a grocery store, running your own grocery store. And there's very few games that are about running a successful restaurant. You can tell I'm a guy who likes food. Or making food. There's not very many good games about that. Of what descent are you? Descent 2.0. Where does the name Vassal come from? Yeah, well, my aunt went and did a genealogy search. Apparently, Vassal came from some longer name. My grandfather's parents... See, my grandfather was adopted, so it was difficult for us to figure out where he actually came from. But they think that his last name was... Their last name was Wasylinski. And definitely, I am of Czech and Polish descent. From my mother's side, some German and Irish thrown in on top of that, but very strong Polish and Czech background from my father's side. That's about the extent I know, because a lot of that happened just prior to World War II and records were lost and who knows. So I'm starting a new dynasty. Okay, let's see. What game that I used to love has aged the worst? It's a good top 10 list. I'll save that for then. Would Vasco da Gama in Hawaii? No. In fact, probably almost no Euro games, because Euro games, even the most fun Euro games in the world, are not fun to watch people play. And that's the thing. You have to pick games that are fun. There's some shows where they show people playing games, and I mean, you can't watch people play Euro games. It's really boring. They can be super fun to play. Like, I love Caverna, but I wouldn't make you guys watch me play that. So... Are there any games that I've pimped out the components for, put new pieces in? I do that for games as time has gone by. Get things painted, add in pieces. Agricola was a big one that I did that too. X-Wing miniatures, I'm adding in new stuff for that. So, best 4X game, Twilight Imperium. What am I designing after my robot game? I have 2 card games that I'm working on now. One, Unknown, has no theme or it's still in a very prototype. The other is Nothing Personal, the card game, except it's not Nothing Personal, the card game. It'll probably be something completely different, but that's the idea that I have for it. Let's see here. My family game, that's the top 10 thing. My favorite filler game, that's the top 10 thing. How many ties do I own? It's like 140, probably at this point. Maybe I'll probably more than that, because I just went to Korea and bought and got another 20 or 30. Any plans for a Cool Stuff Inc. store in Miami? There was plans in the work, but that was put on hold for a while, so who knows. For people who are asking me the best of any sort of game, I've made lots and lots of top 10 lists, and that's exactly what that's for. Let's see. I've actually played The Cook-Off, and I think it has a few problems with it, which is why I'm not real keen on it at this point in time. Let's see here. My favorite sports team. My baseball, Blue Jays. Football, Dolphins. Basketball, I dislike them all equally. But if I had to pick one, I'd pick the 76ers. Because I'm from Pennsylvania. Even though I don't like the Phillies at all. Hockey, don't care. College, don't care. Finding it weird that people get excited about a college I didn't even go to. But that's other people. Soccer, I root for whatever country I'm in at the time. So I used to root for Korea a lot. Now I'll root for America since I'm here. But I'll still root for Korea. Yeah, those are my favorite sports teams. Sorry. Oh, the Reading Phillies. I like them a lot. That's a minor league team. All right. Let's see here. I'll answer just a few more questions. I'll have 3 more questions. First ones I see here. Are card games a little lazy? No. In fact, I think sometimes it's harder to make a good card game that's good and solid than a board game. Okay, 2 left. Best Star Wars film. Oh, wow. I'm going to get in trouble for this one. By far for me, by far my favorite one is Return of the Jedi. And I know that everyone always says the best one is the Empire Strikes Back and all that. But I love Return of the Jedi. I love when the good guys come back in a big win. And the whole scene of Luke and Jabba's palace is the scene of him on a sail barge is my favorite sequence in all the movies. My number 2 is episode 3, when Anakin turns into Darth Vader. I just like that. Those are my 2 favorites, probably. And last question. What has been my favorite convention experience? Whew. That's a hard one. Wow, it's a hard one. The very first time I bumped into someone and they said, I recognize your voice. That was cool. The time I played Memoir 44, Overlord, against someone else with Richard Bork presiding. That was cool. There's just so many good ones. Conventions are such a great experience from beginning to end. So, as we close this video up, for those of you going to Board Game Geek Con in Dallas next week, please come by and say hey to us. Please come to our live show. We'll have fun there. Come by. Maybe I'll play a game with you, but at least I'll talk to you a little bit and say hi. And if I'm busy for whatever reason and I don't have time, then bug me another time. And if you offer to take me out to eat and you pay, there's a good chance that will happen. That sounds terrible. I'm sorry. I shouldn't come across that way. No, I will, but I will gladly spend time with you there. Hope to have a good time and looking very much forward to that. And with that, folks, I'm going to have to say good night, or to some of you who are across the seas, good morning. Come back tomorrow, same place, same channel, at 12 o'clock noon Eastern Standard Time. And Melody is going to go through her entire Top 100 live. Now, this makes me a little nervous because live should be interesting. So, well, we'll have to wait and see how that goes. But I'll see you guys then. Until then, Tom Vassell signing out.